The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 58. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Get your free audiobook by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey of self-confidence. I'm your host for today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a special guest on all the way from Singapore. She is a growth hacker, and she has an amazing story that she's going to share with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Tavia. Tavia, how are you doing today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit about yourself to the listeners.
Sure. Hi, Sheena. My name is actually Tavia, and I'm a 21-year-old college student from Singapore. And I'm currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in accountancy. I also run 2 companies. One is a logistic company, and the other one is a branding and marketing consultancy.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. School and 2 companies. Like, how do you do it all?
Fancy. Well, business is my passion. But studying is something that my parents want me to finish. So I still have to finish my university degree.
And what's your cultural background?
I was born and raised in Singapore, and I'm Chinese. I would say my family is like yours, pretty traditional, a traditional Asian family, and my parents expected me to have good grades, take piano lessons, respect authority, and have a professional degree. So in my case, it is an accountancy degree.
Wow, yeah, it's as Asian parents, it's always they always want us to do like what we've been told a lot, right? And I'm pretty sure sometimes we want to do something different, right? Something like that's not traditional. So I'm glad that, you're able to go out there and have 2 successful businesses and even go to school, which is like probably, a lot of people say they don't have time for anything, but you just, go ahead and just make the time for your business and school. So it's pretty cool. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I don't have a favorite self-confidence quote, but there is a set of 3 mantras that I believe. So the first is, you are the person you want to be. And if you're not where you want to be, you will get there. And the second is, everything you need is already within you. So this is about resources. So you're actually good enough, smart enough, and capable enough to achieve everything you ever wanted. And the third one is, everything will happen for my highest good. So there's a divine wisdom, I believe, that keeps me safe and works for me and not against me.
Well, I like the 3 mantras that you mentioned. And I think, we as, especially as women, we always think that we're never enough when really, we have everything inside us to be able to go out there and do the things that we want to do the things that we love. So I really love the mantras that you shared. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think self-confidence is actually a feeling of, and it contains like 2 components. So the first one is being lovable, and the second one is being capable. So I think self-confidence is this feeling that you have, the combination of both, being loved by people, being loved by yourself, and second, having the capabilities and skills to achieve whatever you set your heart out to do.
I like that definition, and it's true, right? I mean, having those 2 together, being love, or, having that love and being capable is something that, we can all seek inside of us. Because when we can do that, then we can attract the right things into our life. So right. I really appreciate that. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I was a very, very shy person, and I brought out the worst in myself because my insecurities translated into jealousy. So I was always jealous of other women, or like jealous of somebody else's family or relationships, or like jealous of my friends' grades. So in Singapore, we have this term called kiasu. And kiasu basically means a fear of missing out. And my happiness was always pegged to how well others seem to be doing in comparison to myself. So before discovering this concept of, hey, self-confidence, I am worthy of being loved and I'm a capable person, and this is like independent of another person's success, then that was my breakthrough moment. So actually, Sheena, I'd like to share with you and your listeners a set of 3 stories about life before my discovery of self-confidence and after.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so the first one was with my weight. So I'm not sure if you have ever struggled with weight in your life.
Oh, no, I have. I went through like this body transformation, so I know what it's like to be able to, hit that goal or that body that you've always wanted.
Yeah, like for me, like I grew up since I was young, I was fat. Like I was very overweight, and I had to do this like there's this thing in Singapore called the Tough Club, where every single morning you wake up at 6 a.m. and you go to school and you just run. So like while all the other kids would just like be sleeping in bed, you'd be up and you'd be running. So I was overweight all my life, and I got bullied a lot while I was growing up. And I remember just crying myself to sleep because fat kids and min kids, they would just come around and say to me like, "You're so fat, like why aren't you bulimic already?" And just remember at that point of time, I would just hate myself, and I would always think, if only I was thin, I would go and do this, I would go and do that. But everything was about, I had to be thin first before I could do either of those things. So I went for all sorts of diets, all sorts of diet pills, but nothing worked. So I was so like in a bad state, and I got so frustrated with myself. So one thing good that actually came out of that was that I became an empathetic person. And my self-confidence, my lack of self-confidence actually caused me to be a people pleaser. So I would always be that happy, jolly girl, and I was afraid to let people know that I had other emotions, you know, like I could feel angry about certain things because I just wanted people to like me.
I think as Asian women too, we're always been told to, always think of others before ourselves. So I think it's also like we've been pretty much conditioned to always please others and not make any noise. And it's like if we show any emotions of like anger or sadness, it's just like it's not allowed.
Yeah, it's like as if they would judge you for having a lack of self-control.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I mean I can understand how you're feeling, and like, you know, sometimes you have all these other emotions built inside of you and you just want to let it out, but sometimes you're told you can't, right? Because, you know, you're the good daughter, the good sister, the good wife.
To appear like that, like always perfect, you know?
Yeah, and you know it's just impossible because there's no such thing as perfection. So I really like that you mentioned that. And what was that realization when you realized, you know, you're more than enough? You didn't have to compare yourself to others, and you know you went on this journey of self-confidence.
I think there was always this idea that I had inside of me, which was that because I was fat, people thought I was lazy. So, and that wasn't true because I was a very hardworking person, but because I couldn't control my weight and the way I looked, I had to channel that proof that I wasn't a lazy person into something productive, right? So I went into studying really, really hard. And I thought, okay, if I studied really hard and then I had good grades, and then maybe they'll think I'm not lazy, you know? So I went and did that. Like I studied really, really hard. So the source of my self-confidence came from grades, which was another mistake because when I studied really hard and I got a scholarship and I entered one of the top junior colleges in Singapore, it was the first time in my life where I didn't do well anymore because everyone around me was even smarter than I was. So again, like my happiness was pegged to how well I was doing in comparison to other people. So again, I was miserable because anything about that. And then now I thought I would channel the energy into studying hard, but then I studied hard, but then now I'm not good enough again because everybody around me was even smarter than I was. So again, I felt terrible. So it was just this journey of going through this until like one day I just like had an aha moment. I just looked all around me and I saw my friends, like we were having a final season and they haven't slept for many days and studying, close their eyes and go back to bed. And I just told myself like, I'm tired of this. Like I'm tired of competing with people. And when would this ever end? So it was then that I realized that I just want to be free from what other people thought of me, free from expectations of what my parents had of me, what I had on myself, which was a pretty high level of expectation. So I wanted to go to a place where I do not need anybody else to validate me but myself, and I did not want to have a heart that was envious. So I think it was out of this desperation that I decided to embark on this journey of self-confidence, to grow my self-confidence.
Awesome. Well, I really love that you shared that. And, you know, it's crazy because we always are comparing ourselves to others. And then sometimes our family also likes to compare us to other people, which really hurts, like, our self-esteem, right?
Sure.
You know, when they're like, you know, let's say like school, right? It's like you got a 90 on your tests. And they'd be like, well, so-and-so got 100. Why didn't you get that? You know, and it's like, wow. But, like, that's how most Asian parents are, right? It's like, if you got a B, it's like, why didn't you get an A?
You're an Asian, get an A.
Yeah. You know, instead of celebrating that B, you know, it's just like, they're always hard on us. And I know it's not anything intentional. It comes from a good place, but, you know, sometimes they don't realize that it's really hurting their children. Yes, so... Yes. I'm really glad that you brought up the part of, always that notion where we're always comparing ourselves to others, Sometimes it could be because of our parents, and sometimes it's just because of our society. Like, we're always trying to be like that perfect person, especially when we see stuff on the magazine and TV, right? It's like, why can't we look like them? But then we don't realize they put so much makeup on, they have everything altered. So, it's just great to be just yourself and just be yourself and, just being who you are and just staying true to who you are. So I really love that you mentioned that. So thank you so much. And after that discovery, what's your life like right now?
After discovery, I don't think it was just one aha moment that got me into a place of self-confidence, because actually that was not even the lowest of lows. There was a point in my life when I started my first business. I actually did quite well in business. My first business, the first 20K that we made, it was from a logistics business. I took it out and then I decided to reinvest into another business that I had no idea what I was doing, because it was just an idea that I thought, hey, you're driving in a car one day, and I didn't like the idea of a windscreen wiper, because I thought that they are not doing a good job of removing rain. So I prototyped this windscreen shield, it's like a frame where you could install on top of your car and it could suck out water from your windscreen. So this is just a wild idea that I had, and my friends and I, we got an engineering friend from university and we built out this prototype model. And this frame cost like $20,000. So when we finally had the prototype, we tried to install it onto the car. The windscreen broke and the prototype failed, and I invested again money into this project, and then it failed again. So that was the time in my life when I truly went like completely bankrupt. Like, I lost so much money, and I wasn't even 20 years old yet. So it was that point of my life when I really even considered like running away from everything, because I was just so scared. Like, I didn't know what to do because I was so much in debt and I was only 20 years old. That point of time where every source of my self-identity was all gone, when I had to rebuild, it was the toughest, because I had to work so hard and always tell myself like, hey, you can get through this, you can get through this. I think it was through that training of working so hard to get out of that debt and to rebuild myself and to tell myself like, hey, even when things look as bad as it is, like, I can still survive, that gave me the inner strength to continue. So life after the discovery of self-confidence, it's liberating, because you know that you do not have to be so loud or try to prove your achievements to the world. You know that self-confidence is truly something that is more quiet, but it is enduring. No worries. So I just want to also let your listeners know that I'm not confident like 100% of the time, but I'm working on myself continually, and I don't think like anybody ever gets to 100%. So as long as we're all like on this journey, I think that is all that really matters.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't think there's a cure for like being 100% self-confident, right? We all deal with, self-confidence issues. But it's just being more aware and being able to grow more as a person that, just helps us be able to do the things that we want to do. Like all the hurdles that you were able to overcome, you just know now that you can overcome anything and pretty much tackle anything that the world or the universe just brings to you.
Exactly.
So, Tavia, to the listener who's listening to your episode, she's also in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think it is to work on your core confidence. So I think confidence is like an onion. So the first layer, the external layer, is like your physical self. It has to do with your posture, the way you carry yourself, how you look. The second layer of confidence is the ability layer. It has to do with your skill set. So it's your grades, how good you're at cooking, But the last layer of confidence, which is the core of your being, is a kind of confidence. You don't have the exterior layers anymore. You still have a core of being. So for some people, they get this through religion, right? Through like having a deep belief in having a very clear identity of who they are. So that is how some people find their core confidence. But my tip would be for people to go on their own spiritual journey. Let's call it that. Like, go on their own journey to find out more about yourself. So one very practical thing you can do is to sit down and ask yourself, like, what do you really want? What kind of relationships do you want? What kinds of travels you want to go for? Who are the kinds of people you want to be with? And what are the things you like? What are the things you don't like? Just truly get to understand yourself. And then for the skills that you want to build, that layer of confidence, you can go and pick up those skills, learn another language, and basically just go through life, because experiences is the best teacher. But go through life, and every time you meet something difficult, don't run away from it, but really allow yourself to go through that difficult thing and allow yourself to work hard and to get through those hurdles in life, because every time you get through one hurdle, it adds to that layer of core confidence. Every time, the ability to know that you can get out of situations and you are still surviving, that fighter spirit in you, that builds self-confidence. So don't shy away from, the tip would be to don't shy away from things that are difficult or hard, but be brave and go through it.
That is a great tip. I love that, because a lot of us shy away from like the hard stuff, right? It's like we fail once and it's like the end of the world, but really it's just testing you to see how far you can go and how strong you can be. So thanks for sharing that. And Tavia, if the listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and your services and what you do, is there any links or any social media profiles we can connect with?
Sure, you can find me on Facebook. So it's www.facebook.com/Tavia Wong. So it's TaviaWong.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. So to the listeners out there, if you want to connect with Tavia, just head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Tavia's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Tavia for sharing her story with us, sharing her tips on self-confidence. So Tavia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheena, for the good work you're doing.
No problem. And to the women out there and to the listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Subscribe to the Tao of Self-Confidence on iTunes and Stitcher to hear more stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence.